What is good advice in theory but awful in practice? Never give up. There are times when you absolutely should give up, quite a lot in fact. Had I taken this advice in college, my final GPA would have been much better, but I refused to drop classes I was failing. Had I taken this advice when playing FIFA, my controller would be intact and my television wouldn't be see-through. Next gen TV. You installed a window in your TV because of FIFA? I'm having a hard time following here. The right person will come, don't sweat it. Not if you're rotting indoors all day every day, and don't bother with hygiene or anything resembling fashion. I get what people mean when they say it, but a lot of the time it comes across like, do nothing, make no effort. I see people give that advice a lot to others that are down on their luck, and it's a nice sentiment, but don't get the wrong idea, a lot of it is luck, but you have to put yourself in a position to be lucky in the first place, if that makes sense. My housemate is unhappy he is single. I give him advice on places to go to meet people, and he always hits me with this, and then gets back on his computer in the basement and doesn't go outside for days on end. You are absolutely right with this one. I hope your housemate gets it sorted out. As unpleasant as it sounds to say, it is absolutely possible to end up alone. People don't like to think about that, but it's not impossible. It really shouldn't be taken as a given that there's someone out there as though it's a guarantee, because if you're not meeting a bunch of someones, then you're going to miss out on the someone that people are talking about. Be yourself. No, be the best person you can possibly be. Don't be lazy, mean, or a pushover. Be yourself. Unless yourself is an asshole. If you don't deserve me at my worst, or whatever the fuck that shitty saying is. Vile. If you can't handle me at my worst, I don't blame you. I can't handle me at my worst. Laughs and bipolar too. If you keep going into a place you applied for a job and ask to talk to the manager, you'll get the job eventually. I'm sure this worked before the internet, but no one wants you to keep bugging them for a job in 2020. Never worked for anything but entry-level food service. And I bet it often still does. I actually got a really great sales job for a large nutrition company by bugging the fuck out them. I worked at a sports nutrition store, and I kept telling the local rep if they were ever hiring that I was their guy. Took 2 years, but it was an awesome job. What did you do for 2 years? Make sure your kid comes into contact with germs and bacteria as little as possible so he doesn't get sick. Simple staphylococcus. Oh, you had a sanitary childhood? Licks lips. Why does staphylococcus sound like a neckbeard? Because it loves getting inside pure children and wreaking havoc. We're talking about infectious diseases, not the Catholic Church. If you try hard enough, you'll get what you want. Sometimes it just doesn't happen. It doesn't mean you stop trying, but it's not guaranteed. Usually trying brings its own rewards, new skills, met new people, etc. It is possible to commit no errors and still lose. That is not a weakness, that is life. Captain Jean-Luc Picard. It's certainly my life. Nah, you've made plenty of errors. Ladies and gentlemen, we got M. The whole what doesn't kill you only makes you stronger. Lots of shit leaves you a broken down wreck, unable to get back up after not killing you. Ask just about any homeless or drug addict how strong they feel. Along that same line, God doesn't give you more than you can handle. Bullshit. There are plenty of suicides that would disagree. How about people dying of cancer and no treatment is working? The people that break down mentally from PTSD and trauma. I could go on, but I hope you get the idea. I hate that phrase. Fun fact, nowhere in the Bible does it say that line. It's a misconception off of God won't let you be tempted to the point in which you have no chance of resisting. People who say that and stuff like it always make Christians look like Karens who refuse to acknowledge how the world works. You can become anything you want to. Statistically, no. You can't. You should maximize your opportunities and options. If you're a 5'6" Jewish kid with no athletic skill and a heart condition, you're not making the NBA no matter how hard you try. That's what the plastic surgery is for, Kyle. I like how him being specifically Jewish lowers his chances. He should have rephrased it as if you are not African American or a white European, you have no chances of making the NBA. Be yourself. It should be the best version of yourself. Yeah, the entire point of Emperor's New Groove is that sometimes yourself sucks and you need to improve so you'll be fit for human company. Just don't get in your head about which version is the best. How do I know it's not version number 85 or 322 or 558 or 69 or 420? And yet you seem to have settled on number 512. Edit. TV show quote that went over my head. Everything happens for a reason. It'll all work out in the end. Any of those BS one-liners don't hold water. Can you do something about the problem? Yes? Then do. No? Then prepare for the fallout. My only advice is this. Hope for the best, prepare for the worst. I believed in those one-liners. Foolish. There's a current one I'm sticking to. If you can't find the circumstances you want, make them. Hey, that's not bad. Fate is out of the picture. I saw a meme recently that said, never take advice from someone you wouldn't trade lives with. Sounds great until you realize that you can learn from others' mistakes. They could be giving you valuable advice on what not to do and how to avoid the pitfalls that ensnared them. Yeah, I don't like that one, but it reminded me of a saying that I do like, which is don't take criticism from someone you wouldn't take advice from. I also dislike this one because you don't need to be Gordon Ramsay to see that the chicken's raw. I interpret more like if someone is saying really negative things about you that are getting under your skin, you shouldn't let it get to you if it's someone whose life you wouldn't want to emulate. I think if someone tells you your fly is down, whether you like the person or not, you should zip your fly up. Just try harder next time. This sentiment extends into everything, and I hate it. It offers 0 things to try next, and in the same breath states that you didn't really try very hard. It's only an insult and nothing else. Reading this just under what doesn't kill you makes you stronger made it a whole lot different. I wouldn't consider crippling anxiety stronger. This became a whole joke in my family because my brother would say it only to annoy us. We obviously never took it seriously. Now we all laugh no matter who says it. Never go to bed angry. While this may be good advice for a certain type of person, I personally need time to cool down when things get heated. I need time to think about how I may have been wrong or what I could have done differently, etc. Otherwise I get all kinds of defensive and, most times, the fight ends up worse. Whereas if I can sleep on it and cool down, I'm significantly more likely to be an adult about it, accept responsibility for my part, and apologize for whatever role I played. I think a better way of expressing the cliche is to not go to bed without giving the other person some indication that you haven't completely rejected them. You can say that you need time to work it out and we'll talk later versus ignoring any attempts by the other person for reconciliation. I'm with you. I concede like no one else, but it usually works out better for me and us when we both know and acknowledge that we will get over whatever got us in this current predicament. YMMV is always. Treat 'em mean, keep 'em keen. Now you're just being a dick. To be fair, my elderly mother telling me this phrase moved me from putting women on an exclusive pedestal to treating them as people. Now I just need to stop putting people on a pedestal. That's the thing about these bromides, whether they're good or bad advice depends on your starting point. Hey, if putting people on pedestals is your thing, maybe you should be a sculptor. Follow your heart. Yeah, well, sometimes that fucker doesn't have a clue. This is the same thing as trust your gut for me. If you have anxiety, your gut will say no to many things that are actually good for you. I know, right? Every time someone says follow your gut, it means my gut is probably already leading me to the bathroom due to nervous IBS. If I trusted my gut, I'd never go to work in the morning. Like I'm already anxious about going in tomorrow because I feel like I'm going to get bitched at, even though that has literally never happened at the job I've had ever. Same. Must be a Sunday night thing. Respect your elders. I don't care how old you are. If you're a dick, I'm not going to give you respect because of your age. There's that old tumble adage of the different uses of respect. Some people respect you as an authority. Some people respect you as a person. Some say, if you don't respect me, I won't respect you. But they mean, if you don't respect me as an authority, I won't respect you as a person. That shit don't fly with me. Respect is a two-way street. You have to give respect to get respect. The elders should bear this in mind. As a person with ADHD, the advice stay focused on anything feels like torture. Well, not only is it impossible for me to stay focused on one thing unless it interests me, staying centered on one thing, and one thing only blinds me to other possibilities, opportunities, and solutions. On a similar note, get a good night's sleep. Just go to bed earlier and your life will be so much better. As an insomniac, they can shove this platitude directly and with great momentum up their arse. Just because it's easy for you to sleep doesn't mean I relish the prospect of spending 5 hours staring at the ceiling. Got this, it's like you just need to go to bed early, wake up at 5 o'clock, and all your personal, money, health, work deadline issues are going to magically disappear, and in 7 weeks doing that you will be rich, successful, and fucking productive. I hate that word. Be comfortable and happy with who you are. It's generally fine with stuff you can't change, like your height. But if you are overweight or lazy or a slob, those are things you can change and should not be happy about. Advice like this leads to complacency and no self-improvement. Yeah, but you can be motivated to be a better version of yourself while also loving that self. Your body is more than just a sack of flesh. It's important to find worth and value in your physical self, even if it's not at a place you necessarily want it. In my experience, hating yourself and your body leads to greater complacency and a lack of desire for self-improvement. I'm ugly, and even if I lost 30 pounds, I'd still be ugly, and what caused me personally the most weight gain has been stress eating due to hating everything about myself. You have to love yourself first. Then improvement will come. Only get a job that you'll always enjoy. Along the same lines, get a job doing something you love and you'll never work a day in your life. In reality, you'll most likely start to hate that thing you used to love. If you're good at something, never do it for free. If you love doing something, never do it for money. Yes, people are always telling me to do my art for money, but I think that would take all the joy out of it. I do other shit for money and probably make more doing it. My art is awesome, but I don't want to be forced to make it. Don't worry, just have faith. It'll all work itself out in the end. Nope. That's literally telling you not to pay as much mind to your problems and instead put your energy into hoping that it'll just suddenly fix itself. Fixing the problem is going to require worrying about it, but also working to fix it. You have to try if you want anything to get any better. It doesn't just magically fix itself. Have faith that you will be able to find the correct solution. Have faith that if you keep doing what you know you need to do, this will resolve. Have faith that the world is not over. That's what that means. The number of edgy shits in this thread who think applying their curmudgeonly pseudo-logic to the wisdom of the ages constitutes some sort of intellectual achievement is staggering. You never get a second chance to get a first impression. There were many times when I met people I had horrible first impressions of them, but now we are very close. Don't worry about being perfect the first time, just be yourself and let things transpire naturally. Conversely, pretending you are something you are not will absolutely leave a bad impression if people begin to distrust you. Wow, 100%. I do think it's true you never get a second chance to make it first impression though. It is both factually accurate as well as an opportunity maker or limiter. For example, those people you got to know over time, you would not have independently chosen to do so had other circumstances not intervened. And yes, I too have changed my opinion of someone, usually for the worst, unfortunately. I guess that means I'm an optimist. Fake it till you make it. It's working to combat my depression. Pretending to be happy and sociable makes me feel marginally less shit. Nah, I think this is legit advice. Not taken 100% literally and to an extreme, but just, if you want to be an outgoing, friendly, sociable person, you can totally just act the part for long enough, and you will become that person. You want to be a leader at work? Start doing leadery things even if it's not your natural personality type, and it's possible or probable that you will fall into that role naturally in a few months or years. I would not be a surgeon today if didn't take this advice. Flood the country with low-skill immigrants who are willing to work for $5 an hour, and then raise the minimum wage to $15 an hour, so now there is a large labor force, and everyone will earn a living wage. I'm all for a living wage, but people need to keep in mind that living wage varies wildly area to area. If the wage is brought up to $15 an hour and people start making more, won't prices for literally everything start going up because of that anyways? And then $25 an hour would be the new living wage. Some of that would happen, yes. Employers would also stop hiring and start firing employees because they wouldn't be able to afford the labor costs. Don't judge a book by its cover. People can't help but judge other people by appearances, and it's not a good idea to ignore bad behavior at the beginning of a relationship. Happiness is the most important thing in life. Happiness is a temporary state by nature. Trying to eliminate all negative emotions will cause major problems in your life. Confidence comes from the inside. Genuine confidence, not arrogance or delusion, is a feedback loop. You act like you have a certain quality, the outside world gives you feedback that either confirms or denies your belief. If you receive constant negative feedback, it is nearly impossible to build any kind of real confidence. Confidence comes from personal competence and external confirmation before it can be self-sustaining. If you love someone, set them free. This is the most frequent advice given to guys who are at the brink of breaking up. Like, dude, if you love her, be the best you can be for her. If you believe wholeheartedly that she is the one for you, then make sure her personality is not as twisted as the evil queen from Snow White. If she cheats on you, that means that she doesn't see you the way you first met anymore. This should be a whack-you call to do your best. If she still does it anyway, then you break it off so that it won't be as painful as her breaking it off. Don't trust anybody. This is not a good advice in general and for life. While it may be essential in certain professions, spy, auditor, and situations, say, you're in a prison, you are only sabotaging yourself if you try to live like this, and actively making you miserable. Humans are social creatures and require trust to operate healthy way. Also, there are degrees of trust. You don't need to trust someone absolutely to trust them. It can be tricky to figure out what level of trust you should apply, and can require critical reasoning skills to figure out when someone has reached the limit of their trust. Let it go, especially if they sing the song to make a point. Not always bad advice. Some things can't be changed. Some things can be fixed. Sometimes the only way to heal is to move on. It's a lazy piece of pseudo-advice. It offers no path towards healing, no suggestions as to how to get over something, no actual discussion or brainstorming about how the affected person might perceive their situation in order for them to find a solution, nothing. It's just a lazy command from people who can't relate at all because they have never had any real-life experience dealing with even the most basic unpleasant emotions and who generally have very little interest in what their friend is going through. I can't take an adult who says move on or let it go seriously. I'll still be friends with them, but any desire to share anything remotely personal about my life or feelings dies right there on the table. If at first you don't succeed, try again. Then quit. There's no point in being a damn fool about it. W.C. Fields. When keeping it real goes wrong. And also telling people they can push on through something to get past it. Yup. Never Give Up gave me such a bad time. I do not remember the source, but someone will. There's really good evidence that successful people quit more, but they quit early and they quit the right things. It's really important to learn how to quit. My grandma always says to get someone special you have to be someone special. That's a harsh way to tell you you're not her favorite grandchild. I can bend my thumb backwards in a 90-degree angle. Does that count? Hey, I can do that too. Does that mean we're both special or is it? This is a fated meeting of thumb benders. We are meant for each other. If hard work alone made you successful, donkeys would be kings. First time I've heard this, love it. Yes, good one. Many times we miss the opportunities that are presented because we are focused on giving 110% and not giving up. Ugh. I've missed lifetimes of opportunities before I started to figure this out. When I was 17 I fell in love with a girl who didn't feel the same way. I wasted so much time and went through so much pain that I didn't have to if I just realized that you don't always get what you want. Dreams don't always come true.
Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and like this video. Tell me what you dislike or love about this video, so please comment below and hit the bell icon so you're notified anytime a new video is released. This is a WeCrow Media production.